Have you ever wondered what truly defines our worth as we age? Is it the shape of our bodies, the way we look, or something far deeper and more enduring? Today, we invite you to step into a world of wisdom, where the extraordinary Mrs. Eleanor, a woman who has lived, loved, and learned through decades, shares profound insights that can transform the way you view yourself and your relationships. In this video, you'll discover the hidden connections between mind, body, and spirit that define intimacy and self-worth in ways society often overlooks. Mrs. Eleanor reveals how confidence, self-awareness, and emotional harmony shape not only how we experience life, but how we connect with others on the deepest levels. By the end, you'll have a new perspective on what it means to truly honor yourself and your journey. Stay with us until the end to uncover Mrs. Eleanor's timeless lessons, truths that will resonate with anyone seeking authenticity, connection, and a life lived with purpose. You won't want to miss the heartfelt advice that can inspire you to embrace your body, nurture your soul, and create meaningful relationships that transcend the superficial. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoy the content, please comment 1 below. If it doesn't resonate with you, leave a 0. Your feedback is crucial as it helps me create better videos that align with your interests. Now, let's get started. Mrs. Eleanor's eyes glistened with the kind of wisdom that only years of living, loving, and learning could bestow. As she clasped her hands gently in her lap, her entire being exuded a quiet serenity that captivated the room. The group of young people gathered before her leaned forward, their eyes fixed on her as though she were about to reveal the secrets of the universe. And in a way, she was. "My dear ones," she began, her voice a harmonious blend of tenderness and strength, the kind that could both soothe and inspire. The human body is a wondrous creation, a masterpiece designed with infinite care and precision. Yet, it is also wrapped in mystery, layered with complexities that many spend a lifetime attempting to understand. A woman's breasts, for instance, are not merely physical features. They are deeply personal, shaped by a tapestry of influences, genetics, the natural ebb and flow of life seasons, and for some, the sacred act of nurturing new life. These outward appearances tell only part of the story. Each woman's journey is unique, her body a reflection not just of biology but of her lived experiences. She paused, her eyes sweeping across the room, allowing her words to linger, their gravity settling into the hearts of her listeners. The air seemed to grow heavier, imbued with the weight of her presence and the profound truth she carried. With a slight shift in her tone, she continued, her voice now carrying a reflective timbre that drew her audience even closer. "And yet, my dears," she said softly, "the size or shape of a woman's breasts, while often a subject of fascination, does not define her sensitivity, her capacity for connection, or the depth of her emotions in intimate moments. These are realms that go far beyond the physical, reaching into the very core of who she is as a person. Intimacy is not simply about the body. It is about the soul, how it feels, how it expresses, and how it connects with another." Her words hung in the air like a melody, their resonance stirring something deep within those who listened. The group, initially seeking straightforward answers to their curious questions, found themselves drawn into a far deeper and more meaningful exploration. Mrs. Eleanor had a way of turning even the most mundane topics into windows to the soul. "Let me give you an example," she said, her voice now imbued with a gentle authority. "Imagine for a moment the connection between the body and the spirit. Some women, when touched with firmness, feel a sense of grounding, like the steady beat of a drum that anchors them to the earth. Others, however, find their joy in gentleness, in the soft caress of a breeze that brushes against their skin. These differences are not dictated by the size or shape of their breasts, but by how attuned they are to their own needs, their own desires, and the respect they hold for their bodies and their emotions." Her gaze softened as she looked at each person in turn, her expression radiating understanding and compassion. She wanted them to see beyond the superficial, to grasp the deeper truths about connection and respect, not just for others but for themselves. "You see," she continued, "a woman's ability to experience closeness, pleasure, and fulfillment is as much about her relationship with herself as it is about the actions of another. When a woman truly understands her worth, when she honors her boundaries and embraces her desires without shame or hesitation, she unlocks a kind of intimacy that transcends the physical. It becomes something sacred, a meeting of hearts and souls. One of the young men, his brow furrowed with thought, leaned forward slightly, his curiosity evident in his earnest tone. "So, Mrs. Eleanor," he began hesitantly, "are you saying that the size of a woman's breasts doesn't really reflect what she feels inside?" Eleanor's smile deepened, her eyes shining with a mix of pride and affection for the young man's budding understanding. "Ah," she replied softly, her voice like a gentle breeze carrying the scent of blooming flowers, "you are beginning to see the truth. A woman's body, her breasts, her curves, these are but the outward expressions of her physical being. What truly defines her is the symphony within her, her emotions, her sense of self, her confidence, and the love she has for her own spirit. When intimacy is shared with tenderness, respect, and understanding, it ceases to be about the tangible and becomes a dance of souls, a harmony that surpasses all else." If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. The room was silent now, but it was not the silence of awkwardness or uncertainty. It was the silence of transformation, of minds opening and hearts expanding. Mrs. Eleanor had not merely answered their questions. She had invited them to embark on a journey of deeper understanding, of themselves, of others, and of the profound beauty that lies in authentic connection. As the moment lingered, one of the young women in the group raised her hand, her voice trembling slightly as she spoke. "Mrs. Eleanor," she said, "I never thought about it like that before. I've always felt self-conscious about my body, as though it determined my worth. But now, I'm starting to realize it's so much more than that." Eleanor reached out, her touch gentle yet grounding as she placed her hand over the young woman's. "My dear," she said, her voice filled with warmth and conviction, "your worth is not defined by the shape of your body but by the light of your spirit. Embrace who you are, honor your journey, and never let anyone, or anything, make you feel less than the incredible person you are. When you do that, you will discover a strength and beauty that nothing can diminish." The room seemed to breathe collectively, the depth of Mrs. Eleanor's words settling like a soft, comforting blanket over everyone present. She had not just imparted knowledge, she had shared wisdom, the kind that changes lives and lingers long after the words have faded. Eleanor nodded once more, her demeanor composed yet radiating an unspoken empathy. Her voice was steady, carrying a sense of clarity and depth that made each word resonate. "That's correct," she began. "While breasts are a part of a woman's physical being, they are not the sole architects of her intimate experiences. Their size, shape, or even sensitivity is only one small piece of a much larger puzzle. Intimacy, at its core, is not defined by physical attributes. It's a convergence of mind, body, and emotion." She paused for a moment, her gaze sweeping over the room like a gentle tide, ensuring that her audience was following her words. The young people, spellbound, remained in thoughtful silence, their curiosity evident in their wide eyes and slightly parted lips. A faint, playful smile tugged at the corners of Eleanor's mouth as she leaned forward slightly, her next words infused with warmth. "Let me ask you this," she said, her tone soft but purposeful. "Have you ever noticed how confidence, true, unshakable confidence, has a way of transforming the way someone carries themselves? When a woman feels at home in her own body, when she embraces it for what it is rather than what society tells her it should be, that acceptance radiates outward. It enhances not just how she feels about herself, but how she connects with others. In those moments, her body and her emotions are in perfect harmony, and that, my dears, can heighten every sensation, every response." A young woman, her brow furrowed with contemplation, ventured a question. "So does that mean a woman's physical features, like her breasts, don't matter at all?" Eleanor chuckled softly, the sound as soothing as the rustling of autumn leaves. "Not quite," she replied. "Our bodies are undeniably part of the equation. For example, hormonal shifts, whether tied to a woman's age, her cycle, or even her mood, can influence sensitivity, lubrication, and other aspects of physical connection. Over time, some women may notice heightened responsiveness in certain areas, but, and this is important, these physical changes are often deeply tied to how a woman feels emotionally at any given moment. A young man sitting near the back raised his eyebrows in surprise, his curiosity sparking a question. Are you saying a woman's body changes based on how she feels inside? That her emotions can actually affect her physical responses? Eleanor's smile widened, her eyes lighting up with a mixture of pride and understanding. Exactly, she affirmed, her tone rich with certainty. The body, mind, and emotions are inextricably linked. They influence one another in ways we're only beginning to fully understand. A woman's physical sensations during an intimate experience are not just a reflection of her biology, but also of her state of mind and emotional well-being. If she feels safe, cherished, and confident, her body often responds in kind. Conversely, if she feels stressed, insecure, or disconnected, those emotions can diminish her ability to fully experience the moment. Her words hung in the air like a poignant melody, and the room grew still as the gravity of her insight took root. After a moment, another young man, his voice tinged with both awe and curiosity, asked, "So what really makes a woman feel more or less in those moments? What matters the most?" Eleanor's expression softened, her features glowing with a quiet wisdom that only age and experience could bestow. "Ah, now that is the heart of it," she said, her voice almost reverent. "What matters most is a delicate balance, a blend of factors that work together like the notes of a symphony. First and foremost, it's about her ability to let go of inhibitions, to feel free within herself. Confidence plays a vital role. When a woman feels confident in her body and her worth, she is more open to connection and pleasure. Then there's the respect and emotional bond she shares with her partner. Intimacy is not just physical, it's deeply emotional. When trust and respect are present, they create a foundation for the body to respond fully and freely. She paused again, her gaze unwavering as she looked at the young man who had asked the question. But perhaps the most significant factor, she continued, is how well she knows herself, how deeply she understands her own rhythms, her desires, and her boundaries. A woman who takes the time to explore and embrace her own body, without judgment or shame, is far more likely to experience intimacy in its fullest, richest form. The young man nodded slowly, his expression contemplative. "So breasts don't determine that," he pressed, his tone tinged with both wonder and a desire for clarity. Eleanor smiled, her eyes sparkling with the kind of joy that comes from guiding others toward a deeper truth. "No, my dear," she said gently. "Breasts, like any physical feature, are part of the story, but they are not the whole story. What truly matters is not the size or shape of any one part of a woman's body, but the connection she feels, to herself, to her partner, and to the moment. It's her sense of self, her confidence, and her emotional openness that ultimately define her experiences." The room fell into a reverent hush, the weight of Eleanor's words settling into the hearts and minds of everyone present. She had not just answered their questions, she had invited them to see the world, and themselves, in a new light. It was a moment of transformation, one that left a lasting imprint on all who had the privilege of hearing her speak. "As I've said," Eleanor repeated, her voice tender yet unyielding, like the gentle flow of a river that carves through stone over time. "Breasts might reflect certain hormonal influences, changes tied to the ebb and flow of life, to the intricate workings of our biology. They may hint at the body's history, its phases, and transformations, but they don't dictate sensitivity, pleasure, or emotional connection. What truly matters, what transcends the physical, is how a woman feels about herself, her sense of inner peace, her acceptance of who she is, and the harmony she creates within herself. That connection, my dears, is where the magic lies." Her words landed softly yet with profound weight, like a warm quilt settling over the room. She paused, her thoughtful gaze sweeping across the young faces before her, pausing momentarily on each one. Her eyes, aglow with both tenderness and piercing insight, seemed to draw them inward, inviting them to journey into the depths of their own understanding. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. For a woman to fully embrace her body, she continued, her voice now layered with an intimacy that made each listener feel as though she were speaking directly to them, she must first see herself for what she truly is, a singular, irreplaceable creation. It's not just about recognizing her strengths or admiring her beauty, though those things matter. It's about understanding the unique story her body tells, the story of her life, her struggles, her joys, her resilience. She must learn to honor those stories, to see them as marks of her individuality. That self-awareness, that profound appreciation for her own journey, allows her to experience life and love with a depth and richness that no external attribute could ever define. The room seemed to hold its breath, the silence so complete that even the distant rustle of the trees outside felt like part of the moment. The young people sat motionless, their eyes fixed on Eleanor as if the very air around her shimmered with the wisdom she shared. Their questions, those simple, practical queries about physicality, had faded into the background. In their place, a deeper curiosity had taken root, a yearning to understand not just the answers but the greater truths behind them. "Don't look for answers in the external," Eleanor said after a pause, her voice gentle but firm, as though urging them away from a path she knew would lead to disappointment. "The truth, the beauty, the connection you seek, it's always within. It begins in the way you see yourself, the way you care for your heart and your spirit. When you cultivate that inner harmony, it transforms everything. It changes not just how you experience the world, but how the world experiences you." Her words hung in the air, like the fading notes of a song that lingers in the mind long after it ends. The young people exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of wonder, introspection, and quiet awe. They had come seeking practical advice, something tangible and straightforward. Yet, Eleanor had led them into a space far beyond the physical, unveiling the intricate, often mysterious dance between body, mind, and spirit. The sun had begun its descent, and the room was bathed in a golden light that softened the sharp edges of the furniture and cast long shadows on the walls. Outside, the sky was painted in hues of lavender and amber, as if nature itself conspired to echo the depth of the conversation unfolding within. Slowly, the young people began to rise, their movements careful, almost reverent. Their murmured thanks carried a sincerity that Eleanor felt in the depths of her heart. She watched as they filed out, each one carrying with them more than they had sought, seeds of wisdom, planted in the fertile soil of their hearts, to grow and blossom in time. Eleanor remained seated for a moment after the last of them had left. She folded her hands gently in her lap and gazed out the window, her expression one of quiet satisfaction. The sun was dipping below the horizon now, its last rays casting a warm glow across the room. A soft sigh escaped her lips, not of weariness but of contentment. She had shared her truth, offered them a glimpse into a world they might not have discovered on their own. And she trusted, with the quiet faith of one who has seen the passage of many years, that her words would take root. Wisdom, after all, does not always reveal its fruits immediately. Sometimes, it takes years for the seeds to bloom, for the lessons to fully unfold. Outside, the breeze stirred the trees, their leaves rustling in a rhythm that felt almost musical. Eleanor listened, a faint smile playing on her lips as the sounds blended with the silence of the now empty room. It was as though nature itself whispered in agreement with her sentiments, echoing the truths she had shared, that beauty, connection, and fulfillment are not born of external attributes but are cultivated from within. True authenticity, she mused, radiates outward from the heart, touching the world with its quiet grace and undeniable strength. Rising slowly, Eleanor moved to the window, her fingers brushing against the frame as she gazed at the twilight sky. The vibrant colors had softened into dusky purples and deep blues, a serene canvas that seemed to mirror her thoughts. She thought of the young people who had sat before her, their eager faces now replaced in her memory by the quiet contemplation she had seen as they left. She smiled again, this time with a touch of amusement. They had come seeking simple truths, but she had offered them something far more complex, far more enduring. She had given them questions to ponder, ideas to explore, and perhaps even a new way of seeing themselves. As the first stars began to appear in the night sky, Eleanor turned from the window, her heart light. The room, now quiet and still, seemed to hum with the echoes of the evening's conversation. She moved through the gentle rhythms of her evening, preparing for bed with the same calm deliberation that marked all her actions. And as she lay down, the soft rustling of the trees outside her window lulled her into a restful sleep, the knowledge of the seed she had planted filling her dreams with peace. For Eleanor, this was enough. What about you? What have you learned so far from Mrs. Eleanor's wisdom? Reflect for a moment and share in the comments below. What is one lesson from this video that you'll bring into your own life? Perhaps it's a new way of seeing yourself, embracing your journey, or cultivating a deeper connection with others. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. Thank you for being part of this journey. Together, we grow wiser.